Friends, after a woman's husband passed away, leaving her a widow, you will be shocked to discover what her son did next. It's a story of struggle, compassion, and an unexpected twist. You won't believe what happened. Watch until the end to discover the complete story. And if you like the video, please leave a like. Also, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. Let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a 12-year-old boy named Sadid who lived with his mother and older sister in a modest 3-story house. The house was built by his father, who worked for a private company. His father passed away unexpectedly 5 years ago at the age of 35. He was the family's breadwinner, and his sudden death created a void that would never be filled. Sagid's mother was only 27 years old when her husband died. So young, she found herself alone, struggling to support her children. The pain of losing her husband was devastating, but the financial burden was even more crushing. The company where Sajid's father worked provided them with only 200,000 taka, approximately $2,000, which was far from enough to support them for long. Unfortunately, none of their relatives or friends stepped forward to offer any support. They say that in times of difficulty, even relatives become strangers, and that's exactly what happened. Sadid's family, once surrounded by people, now found themselves isolated. Everyone moved on with their own lives, and no one bothered to check how they were doing. Sagid's mother, who had always been a loving and caring wife, found herself in a new, unfamiliar role. With no one else to turn to, she became the sole caregiver for her family. She spent her days lamenting and her nights worried about how to feed her children. She spent all her time at home, trying to make ends meet. Despite her best efforts, the money her husband had left was quickly running out. Over time, the financial strain became unbearable. They couldn't pay the bills, and food was becoming scarce. Sajid's mother did everything she could to save money. She cut expenses, sold what little they had, and tried to make the best of their difficult situation. But even with all her sacrifices, the money ran out in 10 months. With no other options, Sagidi's mother made a difficult decision. She would have to leave the house and find work to support her children. When Sagidi's mother ventured out into the world to find work, she faced the harsh reality of a single woman struggling to support 2 children. She first found a job as a domestic helper in a house. The pay was minimal, but it was a start. She continued her search and soon managed to secure 2 more cleaning jobs. With 3 jobs, she earned a total of 12,000 taka per month. Although it was just enough to cover their daily expenses, Sagide's mother persevered. However, even with this small income, life was still difficult. Bills had to be paid, rent had to be covered, and the children's needs had to be met. The pressure was immense. Half of her income was spent sending Sagid and his sister to school and buying small necessities for them, leaving her with very little to survive on. Sagid, on the other hand, did his best to focus on his education, despite the constant worry about food and money at home. He tried not to let it affect his studies, but soon, the weight of hunger and stress took its toll on him. For 2 days, Sagid ate nothing. His body grew weak and he couldn't concentrate. His stomach ached and he felt bloated. He only drank water to keep himself going, hoping it would provide some relief. However, while he was in the classroom, he felt his energy draining away. His vision became blurry, and everything around him seemed to be fading into darkness. Sagid's teacher, Bilal, noticed the change in Sagid. He saw the pale and weak boy struggling to stay awake and wondered what was wrong. Worried, Bilal approached him and gently asked, "What's wrong with you, Sagid? Are you feeling okay?" Sagid, with great difficulty, opened his eyes and replied, "Yes, sir, I'm fine." Bilal was not convinced. He could see that Sagid was far from fine. So he insisted, "Tell me what's really going on. You don't look well." Sagid hesitated, but after a few moments he admitted, "We have no food at home. We haven't eaten for 2 days. I'm not feeling well." Bilal's heart sank upon hearing this. He could see how much Sagid was suffering. Without a second thought, he stood up, guided Sadid to the teacher's lounge, and immediately asked the school janitor to go to the market. Bilal gave him some money and said, "Quickly, bring something for Sagid to eat." The janitor rushed to the market and within minutes returned with a hamburger and a cold drink. Bilal handed the food to Sadid and said, "Here, eat this. You need to regain your strength." Sadid hesitated at first, but the moment he bit into the hamburger and drank the cold drink, he began to feel better. His head cleared, and he felt energy, slowly returning to his body. His vision, which had been blurry, now seemed clear, and for the first time in days, Sagid felt something akin to normalcy. Bilal, still worried but relieved to see Sagid improving, asked, "How do you feel now?" Sagid nodded weakly, his face finally showing a sign of relief. "I'm better, sir. Thank you." Bilal smiled warmly. "Good. Now go back to class. And after school, I want you to come see me in my office." When the school bell rang for the end of the day, Sagid walked towards Bilal's office, still feeling a bit weak, but now able to think clearly. When he arrived, Bilal was waiting for him. "Don't worry, Sagid. I'm going to help you," said Bilal as he stood up. He took Sagid by the shoulder and led him to his bicycle. "Come on, I'll take you to the market." Bilal pedaled his bicycle to the market. Bilal bought everything Sadid's family needed: flour, rice, lentils, sugar, and other essential items. He didn't stop there. Bilal took the groceries directly to Sadid's house. When they arrived, Sagid's mother wasn't there yet. She worked late into the night cleaning houses, often returning home in the early hours of the morning. Bilal placed the groceries in the kitchen and then turned to Sagid. "Don't worry about anything now. From now on, I'll make sure your family has everything they need. I'll bring food every month so you can concentrate on your studies and not have to worry about where your next meal will come from." Sagid felt a deep sense of relief wash over him. He never imagined that someone outside his family would care so much. Bilal's kindness was like a beacon of light in the darkest moment of his life. Before leaving, Bilal turned to Sagid and said, "I know things are difficult now, but focus on your education. It's the key to a better future. I'll make sure the rest is taken care of." Bilal's intervention was not a one-time gesture. He kept his promise to Sagid and his family. Every month, without fail, Bilal sent groceries to their home. Sagid's mother couldn't believe the kindness of this man, who wasn't even a close relative. Despite his modest salary, Bilal continued to help without ever asking for anything in return. He frequently visited Sadid's home, ensuring the family had enough food to get through the month. The support Bilal provided wasn't limited to just food. One day, when Sagid's mother came home, she was surprised to see the kitchen full, with all the necessary groceries stocked up. She asked incredulously, "How did all this get here?" Sagid, who was sitting nearby, explained, "It was Mr. Bilal. He has been sending these groceries every month. He even spoke to the school administration and managed to get my 3 overdue monthly fees waived." Upon hearing this, Sagid's mother burst into tears. She couldn't believe that someone with no obligation to them would do so much to help them. Bilal's altruism deeply moved her, and she prayed for his well-being, grateful for the immense help he provided in their most difficult times. Bilal's actions went beyond what most people would do. He genuinely cared about Sagid's future. He knew that the only way for Sagid and his family to escape poverty was through education. Bilal encouraged Sagid to focus exclusively on his studies and promised he would always be by his side. Despite the hardships, Sagid's mother was immensely grateful, but couldn't help feeling guilty for not being able to repay Bilal's kindness. However, Bilal, always humble, reassured her, "You don't need to thank me. You can consider me your brother. Helping you is the least I can do. You and Sagid are like family to me." While Sagid's mother worked tirelessly to support the household, Bilal's constant support ensured they never had to worry about food again. Over time, Sagid's mother felt an inner peace, knowing that someone cared for them and that her children would not go hungry. As the months passed, Sagid dedicated himself even more to his studies. He felt increasingly motivated to succeed, inspired by Bilal's altruistic help. Sagid began to dream of a better life, a life where he could repay his teacher for everything Bilal had done for him. Despite all the difficulties, Sagid's academic performance improved. He studied with dedication and began to excel in his classes. His teachers noticed the change. The weak and distracted boy who once struggled to stay awake was now attentive, focused, and full of hope. But Bilal's influence wasn't limited to just providing groceries or paying fees. He instilled in Sagid the belief that no matter how difficult life became, education would always be the key to overcoming obstacles. Sagid believed that if he worked hard enough, he could change his life and, in turn, help others in the same way Bilal had helped him. Bilal's impact on Sagid's life was immeasurable. He was not just a teacher, but also a mentor, a guiding light in the darkest moment of Sagid's life. The lessons he imparted went beyond the classroom, shaping Sagid's path for the future. Now, with the courage to dream of a better future, Sagid focused entirely on his education. He knew that one day he would repay Bilal in the best way possible, by becoming successful and helping others in the same way. Time passed, and Sagid's life began to change in ways he never imagined. With Bilal's unwavering support, Sagid managed to focus completely on his studies. He dedicated himself with all his heart and soul to learning, never forgetting his mother's sacrifices and Bilal's kindness. He worked harder than ever, knowing this was his chance to build a better future for himself and his family. One day, Sagid received the news he had always dreamed of. He had secured a scholarship to a prestigious university abroad. The joy that filled his heart was indescribable. It was as if all the hardships he and his family had faced were finally coming to an end. Sagid's mother and sister were radiant with the news. For the first time in years, they had something to celebrate. Sagid never imagined he would one day be able to study abroad. It seemed like a distant dream, something only the rich and privileged could achieve. But now, this dream was within his reach. The university sent him his ticket, and he was about to embark on a new chapter in his life. On the day of Sagid's departure, his mother and sister were by his side, both with tears in their eyes. Sagid hugged them tightly and promised he would work hard to make them proud. As he boarded the plane, he couldn't help but reflect on how far he had come, from a boy struggling to survive to a young man with a bright future ahead of him. After a long flight, Sagid finally landed in the new country. The university had arranged everything for him. Food, accommodation, and all his expenses were covered. Sagid felt deeply grateful. He knew he was on the verge of a new life, and all of this was thanks to the support of people like Bilal. Sagid adapted to his new life but never forgot his family back home. The scholarship not only covered his expenses, but also provided him with extra money, which he sent to his mother every month. He knew she still worked hard to support herself and care for his sister, and he wanted to ensure they were well. Sagid encouraged his mother to stop working as a domestic helper, saying that he could now support her. He wanted her to rest and enjoy the fruits of her labor. Sagid's life was finally beginning to improve, and he felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility in caring for the family that had sacrificed so much for him. Over time, Sagid's financial situation improved even more. He got a part-time job while studying, and the money he earned allowed him to send even more to his mother. His effort paid off as he stabilized in his new life. His mother, who once struggled to feed her children, could now live more comfortably. She used the money Sagid sent to renovate the house, buy new furniture, and turn their dwelling into a real home. The family's life, once full of worries and hardships, was now full of hope and promise. The relatives who had previously ignored Sagid's family those who never sought them out in difficult times, suddenly began to appear at their door, coming with smiles and offers of help, as if they had always been there. Sadid held no grudges, but he couldn't help but notice how people's attitudes changed quickly now that his family was in a better position. Meanwhile, Sagid's sister completed her studies, and the family began to look to the future with enthusiasm. Sagid's success became a symbol of hope for them, and everyone felt proud of his achievements. Over the years, Sadid's hard work bore fruit in ways he never imagined. He successfully completed his graduation and received a job offer from a prestigious company in Pakistan. The starting salary was 4 lakh taka, an amount that seemed unimaginable in his childhood. Sagid was radiant. It was proof of all the sacrifices he and his family had made, and he felt immense pride for having come so far. Before returning to Pakistan, Sagid went shopping to buy gifts for his mother and sister. He wanted to show them how important they were to him. The day of his departure was emotional. His mother hugged him tightly and kissed his forehead, her eyes filled with tears of joy. She had seen her son go from someone struggling to survive to a successful young man with a bright future. It was a dream come true for both of them. Sagid's first day at his new job as general manager was overwhelming. As he sat at his desk, absorbing his new position and the responsibility that came with it, he couldn't help but think of Bilal. It was Bilal who had given him the chance to succeed, who had helped him when he was at his lowest point. Without Bilal's kindness, without his unwavering support, Sagid knew none of this would have been possible. Bilal not only helped Sagid with food and school fees, but also instilled in him the belief that no matter how difficult life became, education would always be the key to overcoming adversity. Sagid owed everything he had to this single act of kindness. As Sagid sat at his desk thinking about his teacher, he realized he needed to find Bilal and express his gratitude. He immediately arranged for an office car and set off for the school, where Bilal had taught. Upon arrival, he discovered that Bilal had left the school a year earlier. He couldn't help feeling a sense of urgency. He needed to find Bilal and thank him properly. After some searching, Sagid managed to get Bilal's address. He arrived at Bilal's house with fruits and sweets, hoping to demonstrate his gratitude. When he saw Bilal, he was shocked. Bilal, who was once full of energy and vitality, now seemed weak and frail. The teacher who had once helped him in his most difficult moment now needed help himself. Bilal was giving private lessons to survive, but the years had taken their toll. Sagid was deeply concerned. He immediately arranged for Bilal's medical treatment and began sending food and supplies to his home every day. Sagid wanted to ensure that Bilal and his family were well taken care of, just as Bilal had done for him and his family when they needed it. Bilal's health gradually improved, and he regained his strength. Sagid's mother, who had already developed a strong bond with Bilal's daughter, visited his home. Bilal's daughter, who helped him with the private lessons, was a bright young woman who had recently graduated. Sagid's mother liked her, and soon Sagid's family proposed that she marry Sagid. Bilal, seeing how his daughter was treated with respect and affection by Sagid's family, joyfully accepted the marriage. Bilal, a man who had once offered help, now found himself in a position where he was being helped in return. He felt immense gratitude to God for bringing Sadid into his life. Bilal's kindness, which had been a seed planted so many years ago, blossomed into a lifelong bond of love, respect, and mutual support. Sadid became a successful man, not only through his own efforts but also because of the incredible support he received from Bilal. He realized that the kindness he received from Bilal made all the difference in his life. The teacher who had once been his guiding light in his darkest moment was now part of his family. Sagid, with a heart full of gratitude, promised to continue Bilal's legacy of helping others. He knew that one day, he too would pass on the kindness that had been shown to him. In this way, the cycle of kindness, love, and support would continue, and other people would have the chance to change their lives, just as he had. So, Friends, that was today's video. Friends, that was our story for today. Tell us in the comments what you thought of the story. Stay well and healthy.